The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal. Criminal copyright infringement is investigated by federal law enforcement agencies and is punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of $250,000.
I have a lot of skills, I have a lot of experience, and I try to use everything for win this fight.
Anderson Silva is the guy who made me believe in myself that I can get into this game. So it's going to be an honor for me to take him out of this game.
A good evening to you from beautiful Melbourne, Australia. The MMA leader has touched down in this great time all since 2010. And in a few short hours, a legend returns to face a young contender who appears destined for superstardom. Live inside the sold-out Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, Australia, this is UFC 234, Adesanya Vs Silva, presented by Tab. Who are you backing? We also remind you closed captioning is readily available for tonight's telecast. And with that, I'm John Anik. Thank you for being with us here on pay-per-view tonight. And I guess so it goes in the fight game. Our main event tonight was to be the UFC Middleweight Championship between Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gastlum. But earlier today, Robert Whittaker came down with a severe abdominal injury. It required emergency surgery, so Whittaker and Gastlum are off the card, and that means Israel Adesanya and the Spider Anderson Silva move up and will headline UFC 234 tonight. Thrilled to welcome in the former UFC Bantamweight champion, Dominic Cruz. Here we are again, but all thoughts, of course, with Whittaker and Gastelum. Very disappointing for neither man to be able to compete here in Melbourne tonight.
Yeah, and for those of you at home who are wondering, like, man, how does this happen? Well, it's a freak accident. It doesn't happen. This has never been seen. I mean, hernias happen in this game because we're always lifting each other up, pushing hard in our training, and you don't know when it happens. He's so tough. He toughed it out all the way to here until he started getting sick, and now he had to go to the hospital straight into surgery. So instead of a fight tonight, he's in surgery. Nobody on earth wants to do a 12-week camp for surgery. So my best wishes go out to Whittaker and Gastelum, but at least Gastelum, the UFC will take care of him as they take care of their athletes, and he'll get some pay. But I know this fight's going to come back around in 4 weeks, so stay tuned. Don't give up. Whittaker is a great champion. Gastelum is a great opponent, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, you can be sure that championship opportunity is going to come Gastelum's way, and likely sooner rather than later. Well, if any man is capable of moving in to this main event slot tonight, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya, the consensus breakout star of 2018. Tonight he takes on the legend Anderson Silva, and this has been the quote from Adesanya. He brought me into this game. It will be an honor to take him out.
Yeah, and he said, you know, he might have been the greatest of all time. He might be the GOAT, but I've been eating goat since I was born. This is all I do is eat. So he's ready for this challenge. He wants to be the next Anderson Silva. In order to do that, you have to beat him. You hear that a lot, but this is real. It's a whole different story when you have the guy that got you in the sport in front of you, though. So let's see how he handles it.
Out of the blue corner tonight, one of the greatest of all time, Anderson the Spider Silva.
Definitely one of the greatest of all time. 10 title defenses, makes it look effortless and easy throughout his entire career. And now we're gonna find out if he can still do it at the age of 43. Is he still knowledgeable enough to beat somebody who's younger and faster and perceivably maybe even better? But we don't know. You can't count Anderson Silva out. He's one of the greatest counter strikers of all time. And even if you try to strike him with non-stop numbers, he always figures out a way to come out in the end, not getting finished and maybe even finishing you.
Very interesting scene here at the weigh-in a day ago. The emotion spilling over for Anderson Silva and to some extent Israel Adesanya. In a matter of hours, they will lock the door behind them. Well, obviously not the start to fight day that we expected, but this is one of the most passionate MMA crowds in the world. They are in for a treat tonight. Here's a look at what else is coming your way. The rest of the card is brought to you by Hudson Shipping Innovation. Well, you can find him on the list of the most underappreciated fighters on the roster. With 11 UFC wins to his credit, Ronnie Yaya gets the pay-per-view showcase tonight as he chases a 4th straight submission win against the highly touted 26-year-old Ricky Simone, a wrestler with power who brings with him to Melbourne a 2-0 UFC record and 7 consecutive wins overall. In the flyweight division, after finishes in each of her first 2 UFC starts, jiu-jitsu player Montana De La Rosa would qualify as a name to watch. Tonight, she's the betting favorite against fellow 23-year-old prospect, New South Wales' Nadia Castle. She's 5-0 with 4 first-round knockouts to begin her career and can secure the biggest win of her professional life later tonight. These locker room shots are brought to you by the Australian Leisure and Hospitality, with over 300 pub venues as the official home of the UFC. Watching UFC is better at the pub. And there is the upstart 22-year-old Aussie, Jimmy Crute. He wowed the UFC brass on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series last summer, did the same in his UFC debut late last year. Tonight, with the masses behind him, Crute can move to 10-0 if he can turn back the power-packed American, Smiling Sam Alvey. In this, his 46th professional MMA fight, Alvey will try to produce his 20th career knockout on the road by bouncing Crute from the ranks of the unbeaten. The rules of the Octagon are brought to you by Hudson Shipping Innovation. 3 judges score the fight. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all UFC main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then Octagon control in that order. All right, one quick note before we get going. The Pro Boxing and Combat Sports Board of Victoria has adopted the new unified rules for this event. We will also have the limited use of instant replay, but that is only to look at a fight-ending sequence, so once replay is used, that particular fight cannot be restarted. All right, with that, we are off and running with the main card from Melbourne. Good to have you with us tonight on pay-per-view. Packing experience and knockout power for his trip down under. Sam Alvey is undefeated in Australia. He'll look to keep that trend going tonight against the oncoming Aussie, Jimmy Crute. He secured his first UFC win in December. And now, top Australian prospect Jimmy Crute is on home soil and hungry to impress. His quest continues tonight against a seasoned knockout artist and roster staple, Smiling Sam Alvey.
I feel like I have the advantage every round of the fight. I feel like the only place that Sam Alvey can land on me is if I stand in front of him and try and go toe-to-toe. If I do that, I'll still walk away the win, but I can do it much cleaner.
This fight has the potential of going anywhere. We got 2 guys that hit really hard, 2 guys that are good at jiu-jitsu, 2 guys that are good at wrestling. This fight could go anywhere at any time.
A knockout of Chris Birchler last summer introduced Victoria's Jimmy Crute to much of the international fight community. But once he had his foot in the door, he broke it down with a submission of Paul Craig. It was the first of what he hopes will be many wins in the famed UFC Octagon.
I've gone back to my roots a little bit. I'm going to fight how I used to.
Quick with a smile or a fight-ending blow to the chin, Sam Alvey's decade-plus as a pro mixed martial artist has taken him around the world. And after knocking out Dan Kelly and Dylan Andrews, he makes his 3rd visit to Australia, seeking a similar result against the rising star Jimmy Crute.
Jimmy, he got to choose me, and that was a mistake for him. And I'm going to make sure he knows it by the end of the fight.
Oh, here he is, the inimitable, smiling Sam Alvey. I'm not sure if these are emotions and maybe he's crying right now, perhaps because this is his pay-per-view debut. 16 UFC fights to his credit already. All of them have been Fight Night or Fight Pass. Pay-per-view debut for Smiling Sam here tonight.
I mean, I think it's just an emotional time because fighting is emotional.
Yeah.
We're some of the most emotional people on earth. And, you know, it's not always a crazy or bad thing that guys can come out crying. This thing triggers a lot of different things, and sometimes it's powerful. But for this guy, I think he's just going to be smiling, crying, all of the above until he punches somebody out. And who knows what's going to happen from there.
So there is his wife, McKee Alvey. She has been a huge driving force in his mixed martial arts career. She studies opponents, she wraps his hands, and she was really the impetus for him making the move to Team Quest. She did her research on all these different camps, and she decided that aligning with Dan Henderson and Team Quest would be the best move for her husband, and the results are there. 10 UFC wins to his credit. Sometimes sort of idles a little bit in there, right? He's a counter striker, but there's no denying the pop in both hands.
Well, he says, you know, she reads his opponents better than anybody that he knows because she knows him better than anybody. He says he trusts his wife with all his fight and opponent decisions. And that's not something that's maybe everybody would say, but this man has made success with what he's done. He's got power in his hands. His lead hand, he's actually right-handed, but he stands southpaw. Another guy that takes that stance is Manny Pacquiao. Likes to have that lead hand up front so that the power is leading with everything that he throws. Sam Alvey is very strong, and you can't sleep on him.
Still just 22 years of age. Here is Jimmy Crute making the biggest walk of his professional life. And Megan O'Leary, I know he's just getting started, but a lot to like based upon what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. A successful outing in his UFC debut in December where he got the submission victory, but he actually told me that was a fight he wasn't really happy with because he actually froze inside the octagon. He said, I was so focused on the result, I wasn't focused on the process enough. He said he's changed his mindset heading into this. Although he has that 0 on his record, he said he's more focused about having a great performance rather than keeping that perfect 0.
Yeah, he said, I don't cut a lot of weight either. I don't like to draw myself out. I like to keep my power in my hands. And we've seen in his fights, Megan, that this guy has power in both of his hands. He likes to go for the submissions, but I think that him not cutting weight is actually his gift for him. You know, everybody doesn't need to draw themselves out, but some people adjust to it. He, on the other hand, keeps his power because of that, I think. And he's very strong because that's the way that he believes. And more than anything, he uses his strikes to draw out the takedown. I think that's what we're going to see tonight.
Well, a lot of people talk to him about moving down to 185 pounds, but if you saw him weigh in with sweatpants yesterday, you know this is the weight class for Jimmy Crute. He has been a lifelong martial artist, judo base. Feels like if he's going to go for the takedowns tonight, he's got to set them up. But a lot of eyeballs, Megan, on Jimmy Crute in a massive spot here tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has the support of the crowd here. He told me when he was walking around the city, he had to keep reminding himself he's here to fight, not to be a tourist or just enjoy his time.
Well, we've all enjoyed getting to know Jimmy Crute a little bit here during fight week. Now it's his turn to incite the Aussie masses. With that, we get you the tail of the tape, brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Jimmy Crute, 22 years old. Sam Alvey is 10 years his senior. Both fighters 6'2" tall. Both fighters making weight. Alvey will have a reach advantage of 1.5 inches. All right, now to get us the official introductions for this main card opener, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from down under at Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, Australia for UFC 234, Adesanya Vs Silva, presented by TAB. Who are you backing? And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 33 wins, 11 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6'2" tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Temecula, California, USA, Smiling Sam Alvey. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding an undefeated professional record. 9 wins, no losses. He stands 62 inches tall, weighing in at 206 pounds. Fighting out of Bendigo, Victoria, Australia, Jimmy Cruz. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard, our referee for this one. Sam Alvey's a trip, man. I mean, I bet you'd like to have that guy as your father. He's the father of 3, Reagan 5, Ivel 4, Crosby 2. Got child number 4 coming in September. First order of business. This matchup with Jimmy Crute here tonight. Sam Alvey in the blue trunks out of the southpaw stance. The plus 130 underdog. Jimmy Crute, the minus 150 favorite for his second UFC appearance here tonight.
Something to be aware of. Sam Alvey said Crute had stitches, 3 stitches under his right eye just a couple days ago. I'm going to aim right for those stitches and try to explode his eye. I think that's nice of you, Sam.
Nemiroff, bold character since 1872. Well, as Megan O'Leary referenced, when Jimmy Crute was making his way to the octagon, he was pretty hard on himself after that Kimura victory over Paul Craig. He felt like he forced things a bit. His sprawls were slow and spent too much time on his back. So this is a young, cerebral fighter that is not at all satisfied with the 9-0 record. Goes high there, partially blocked by Sam Alvey.
What we're going to see out of Crute, he's going to stay on the outside, stay patient. You saw a sharp right hand down the middle and a good right high kick. If he keeps his strikes long and on the outside, he'll get Alvey to just swing at nothing with power and slowly pick him apart.
A little showmanship from Jimmy Crute. Alvey's an interesting opponent for a lot of these folks because he kind of lulls you in and doesn't throw a lot, and then you obviously know about the power in what is his lead right hand, but not the easiest guy to compete against.
Well, he tricks you because you think that he's kind of like nice guy and soft and all this stuff, possibly because of maybe the way he looks and the smiley face on the back of his head. But then he trains with Dan Henderson, and Dan Henderson is one of the toughest human beings on earth. I swear he eats metal for breakfast. So if you're training with that guy every day, you learn how to take damage, you learn how to be durable, you learn how to figure out a way to win. And so that's how sometimes he gets people down. He pulls you into his power and gets you, but I don't think that Jim Crute's going to fall for that. I think he's going to make Alvey work and pick him apart slowly, and that's what we're seeing right now.
17th UFC appearance for Sam Alvey. He said of his last effort, it was the most strategic I've ever fought, and almost too much thinking in his own estimation. Landed the left hand there.
Don't forget, man, I mean, even if he's getting picked apart, he's in this fight till the very end unless you knock Alvey out. He's extremely durable, and he's got a lot of power in both of his hands.
Alvey has only been finished 3 times in 45 professional fights. Listen in to his corner, his wife, McKee Alvey, and the rest.
Huge, big right high kick. And that hurt his...
Huge
big
punch
knockout
landed. For Crute. Crute walked off as if the fight was done.
Shouldn't have stopped. That's why you got to have the
Alvey
ref
on
pull you off.
legs. Now a high kick from Crute.
Oh, and stopping really changed the game, but he's still hurt. Alvey is still hurt. And that's it. I think this is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't have much to defend with right now.
Alvey is done. Jimmy Crute, 10-0.
And Alvey said something about that. He said Goddard has stopped his fights early before and let me take a beating, and Goddard stopped the fight again, and Alvey is obviously mad because this is the second time. He had talked to us about this, Anik.
Right.
And Goddard did stop it, maybe early, I don't know, but I mean, he was hurt, so I get it.
Well, Alvey thought he had recovered, and in our sit-down with him, he was not at all happy with Mark Goddard. He tried to articulate that respectfully, but once again, Mark Goddard, the referee in question, as Sam Alvey believes it was an early stoppage. We'll take a look back at it. This fight replay brought to you by Nemiroff, bold character since 1872.
Interesting, they gave him the same ref again. We see here, he goes to throw a left hand and walks right into a super powerful right hand of Crute. From here, Crute should not have walked away. You don't stop unless the ref stops you, even if you think they're hurt. We're in there to the death in these fights for the most part, even if it's a sport. And right here, he walks away and gives Sam Alvey a chance, but Alvey's still hurt. Goddard's watching closely. It is our job to keep the fighter safe, but I think he was trying to work up, and he's covering his head right here. He's covering his head, covering his thumbs up. He's got a thumb up. Goddard doesn't listen, doesn't see it, stops it.
Well, an immediate protest from Sam Alvey, but it goes into the books as a first-round knockout for Jimmy Crute, who improves to 10-0. And again, Alvey really animated in the direction of the referee, Mark Goddard. All right, to make this one official, we turn it inside now to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 49 seconds in the very first round, declaring the winner by TKO, Jimmy Crute.
Here he is, folks. What a moment for Jimmy Crute in Melbourne tonight. 10-0, gotta feel pretty good too.
Have you heard about Jimmy fucking Crute?
What a moment, what a fight, as long as it lasted. Perhaps some controversy for the stoppage. You knocked him down and then you retreated. Your thoughts on the end of this fight, my man?
No, I wanted to walk off, but I should have just jumped on him. You know, I feel like he was done. He had that wobbly strength. You know, he's going to argue. But, of course, you're going to feel like you're good when you're on the other side. I'd probably be arguing. But I feel like it was a good stoppage.
We're going to take a look at it. Did you feel him soften up down the stretch? He appeared to give the referee a thumbs up, but not necessarily.
He's known for his good takedown defense, and I knew as soon as I shrugged him off with that head kick and rolled him over, I thought, nah, he's done. He's on shaky legs. He's done.
You were your own sharpest critic after your last fight, a win over Paul Craig. Overall assessment of the performance tonight, pretty flawless, I would think.
My coaches say when I'm relaxed, no one can touch me. So we're just building. I'm going to go away. I'm going to get better. And I'm going to come back when the next show in the region is.
This light heavyweight division is wide open. How soon would you like to get back in?
I don't know. I'm just going to see what the UFC offer. I'm known for always being ready, taking on anyone, anytime. I want to have a break. We'll see what happens. Australia, make some fucking noise!
Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Crute!
And as we see here, these guys just threw down Crute, pretty hyped. And he got the knockout on a loaded punch from Sam Alvey. Didn't set it up, got caught coming in. Goddard stops it due to punches. TKO. Nice finish by Crute. He's on his way up the ladder.
Jimmy Crute, if you don't know now, you know. Arguably the two best flyweights in the world right there. The champion Henry Cejudo, the #2 ranked contender Joseph Benavidez. Perhaps those two will have a rematch in the not too distant future. And we're happy to announce that this time we are headed back to Chicago, Illinois. It'll be UFC 238 on Saturday, June 8th. Stay tuned for fight announcements in the coming weeks. But it is now official. For the second straight year in the month of June, the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, will host a UFC pay-per-view event. Well, Donald Cowboy Cerrone's had a lot of fun here during fight week. And there he is with the heavyweight contender, Tai Tuivasa. Oh, Cerrone doing a shoey on pay-per-view. That's worth the $60 alone.
And that's how he gets in shape every single fight. Ever since I've known Cowboy Cerrone, since the WC days, he has not changed that fact. He likes to drink beer. They lost his bag. They sent it to Austria. The guy's been walking around in board shorts and sandals all week, having a blast.
And there is the ringmaster, Tai Tuivasa. I'm told his beer tolerance is pretty good, so.
Oh, right out of Cowboy's boots, and I'm sure it's been a long day. That's a lot of liquid in those boots.
Oh, man. I mean, I could watch Tai Tuivasa paint a wall. All right, time now to get back to the live action pivotal matchup here in the women's flyweight division. Well, there is a new queen atop the division, but that has not changed the focus of prospects Montana De La Rosa and Nadia Kassem, who continue their missions towards a world title shot here tonight. When Wentworthville's Nadia Kassem was signed by the UFC in 2017, there was no shortage of hype surrounding the Aussie female, and she delivered in her debut, a win over veteran Alex Chambers. Now, after a year spent coping with injuries, Kassem is back and ready to take on the flyweight division's best.
After a long layoff from the octagon, I'm ready to come in and bang and show everyone what I've got. I'm not just a grappler or just a stand-up guy. I'm an MMA fighter, so I've got it all.
Tonight's challenge comes in the form of former Ultimate Fighter standout Montana De La Rosa, who has won both of her UFC bouts thus far. impressive submissions against Christina Marks and Rachel Ostovich that have her on the fast track to title contention.
I have 2 finishes here in the UFC, and I just want to keep climbing the ranks and get a championship fight.
Representing Wentworthville in New South Wales, here is Nadia Kassem, 5-0, as she makes the walk here tonight for her second UFC appearance. Moving to flyweight, and she says with finality after missing weight for her UFC debut against Alex Chambers.
Yeah, she says, I dictate the pace of this fight. I'm going to keep it standing. I'm going to stay away from the grappling altogether, and I'm going to be able to put hands on her. She wants to grapple, she said. She says she's not going to be able to deal with the way that I use my range. She's going to run into a knee, an uppercut, something when she tries to wrestle, but everybody tries to wrestle me.
Kassem started with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was November of 2013. Her interest sparked after watching her brother compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA. Her brother Daniel in her corner here tonight. And she was just drawn to the violence of MMA. She says growing up, she could never find the right sport for her. She is a self-proclaimed thrill seeker. And I guess no better place to scratch that itch than the world-famous octagon.
And no better way to get prepared for a fight than have an older brother, not probably beating on her as a kid, making her as tough as ever. You know I was hard on my brother, and he's one of the toughest guys I know. So look at what her older brother did for her. I mean, she's out here, he's still competing with her, and that's family with family. It's some of the strongest ties you can have. Let's see how she goes into this matchup, because she's 5-0, so she's ignorance is kind of bliss to an extent. When you haven't lost, you don't really know that feeling. You don't know anything. You just know that you're the best, and that's how she feels right now.
She's had to deal with some unusual injuries. She's really a firecracker. At one point, she tore the tendons in her knuckle and ended up in a cast because she punched her car. Another time, she had disc bulges in her lower back and her neck. She was playing with her nephew with a baby bike, fell off the tricycle flat on her back. So there have been some hurdles. She's still just 23 years old. Obviously, Alex Chambers was a big step up in competition, and now another step up as she draws Montana De La Rosa here in Melbourne. So here's the also 23-year-old Montana De La Rosa. She's happy to see a number next to her name. Comes in number 14 in the world right now, and coming off her best performance to date, a submission of Rachel Ostovich, a performance in which she felt her boxing was crisper and her overall stand-up was much improved.
She says, even though my stand-up's improved and you haven't seen a lot of it, I'm actually a wrestler first. I started wrestling when I was 14. I'm a 3-time All-American at 119 pounds in high school. So she has the wrestling background. She just hasn't been using it. She said, I'm focused on my jiu-jitsu, and I've been focused on my stand-up in order to fill in the gaps. But I think in this matchup is where you're really going to get to see how I fill in those gaps with the wrestling. I'm not just standing and I'm not just on my back. Now I can take people down, put them where I want, stop the takedowns, keep them on my feet. I will dictate this fight. So really it comes down to who's going to dictate where this fight goes. Nadia seems to think that she can keep it standing. Montana thinks that she can put it wherever she wants because of her wrestling background. So I think that that's what we got to be watching for in this particular matchup. Who does what? Are we staying standing or are we on the ground, and who picks what?
And you saw her husband, UFC veteran Mark De La Rosa, in her corner tonight as his wife puts her 3-fight win streak on the line. She's won 9 of 11 overall, and to your point, really starting to put it all together. We'll see how it goes for De La Rosa as a -260 favorite tonight against one Nadia Kassem. This Tale to Tape is brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Both women 23 years old, 9 months the difference in age. Nadia Kassem, the younger fighter. Montana De La Rosa taller by 2 inches. You see Kassem coming in 2 pounds below the flyweight limit. Montana De La Rosa will have a 2-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the introductions, back inside to the man in Merlot, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC flyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding an undefeated professional record. 5 wins, no losses. She stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 124 pounds. Fighting out of Wentworthville, New South Wales, Australia, Nadia Kassem. And now introducing her opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record. 9 wins, 4 losses. She stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 125 pounds. Fighting out of Fort Worth, Texas, USA, Montana De La Rosa! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Peter Hitchcock.
Kahili Blundell getting us ready for round 1 of a possible 3 in the UFC women's flyweight division, in which they are all now chasing Valentina Shevchenko.
Southpaw Gastlum. Good right hand lands right away. Montana comes straight to the center of the ring and just starts punching.
Gastlum in green with her back up against the fence. Montana De La Rosa in black applying pressure.
Montana coming heavy in the beginning. Yeah, she's ready to just get after it right away, not give any space to Gastlum to strike or do anything. And she's pressuring, looking to pass here. She's going to push through to half guard.
Let's go, work those elbows, you're in our corner, let's go. It's all you. Space on the inside. It's all you, she ain't ready for this level, let's go.
And this is exactly where De La Rosa wanted to be. She said, I'm just gonna kill her with offense, go non-stop forward, just cover her. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. I mean, just a takedown, just folding her straight to the mat, and she's heavy on top. Let's see if Gastlum can get to her feet or try to. Right now, she hasn't tried to. She's just trying to regain her guard back. That's all we're seeing so far.
De La Rosa, just 23 years old, has an 8-year-old daughter, Zaylin, who's also a budding wrestler. 2 parents as professional fighters. That's been a balancing act for Montana throughout her professional career.
And man, you have to really respect that for these mothers that come in here and fight. I mean, to do 2-a-days plus work and then live regular life is insane. But then to have a kid in between that, you get no rest in between the 2 trainings because you gotta walk, you gotta take your kid, you gotta watch movies with them, you gotta enjoy your time with them. And she does that while fitting in the schedule. It's very impressive.
Nemiroff, bold character since 1872. I can't wait till you're changing diapers between 3-a-days. I cannot wait.
I changed diapers with my little sister.
Yeah, you did.
So I've already been there. We'll get there one of these days. Right now I'm fighting.
About 2 minutes gone by here. Dominant start for Montana De La Rosa.
De La Rosa just overpowering Gastlum so far. Gastlum not trying to dig on her hooks, not trying to get to her feet. She's okay with being on her back, using her guard. Let's see if she can try for some triangles and some arm bars here. She's controlling the hands well. That's the first step to not taking a lot of damage when you're on bottom. That's what she's doing well, controlling the hands, controlling the head of De La Rosa so she can't posture up and punch and elbow her. High guard up on the shoulders really makes it hard to posture up to get power into those punches. So that's what Gastlum's doing well right now.
De La Rosa fighting out of Genesis BJJ in Fort Worth, Texas, operating right in front of her corner. Gastlum continuing to try to control posture, but De La Rosa staying busy enough to prevent a potential stand-up by the referee. Top control time, already 2+ minutes for the 14th ranked contender, De La Rosa.
See, the problem with this is Gastlum is holding on to that half guard, but you can't get up that way. So if you're going to use the half guard, you want to try to be offensive from there.
All right, let's fire it into the red corner of Montana De La Rosa.
Push that knee through. Let's get short. Don't get too overextended here.
I need elbows, Tana.
Let's go into high posture.
Draw that bow, Tana.
Yep. Pummel that head off. Pummel her hand off your head. Inside and cross grip.
Tana, we need help. I need some ground and pound. Let's go, Khabib. We need you to bully here, Khabib.
Good. Let's pass all the way through, Tana.
See, that's got to be your code for ground strikes. Just Khabib, right?
No question. The guy doesn't stop. He doesn't get tired, and he just covers you with offense from the top. But right now, what we're seeing is De La Rosa just going position over submission. And she's just trying to get to a stronger position so she can do some damage from the top. Gastlum's doing a good job keeping the guard, keeping half guard so that De La Rosa can't really get to a powerful position to do a whole lot of offense. However, the clock is burning. So even though Gastlum's not taking a lot of damage, not getting hurt, maybe not even getting tired, she's losing because she's on her back, not attacking and not doing anything. So the clock's burning.
Well, how do you control a distance fighter, right? Close the distance, put her on her back, and keep her there. And that's exactly what Montana De La Rosa has done. And again, she's stayed busy enough to avoid a stand-up. 45 strikes have already landed.
45-8. That's how you win a round. If you're not going to get the finish, keep busier. Stay non-stop with offense, and De La Rosa has done that.
Pretty big experience.
She's got an armbar attempt here. She's got an armbar attempt here, and it looks like she's going to go for it. But it's the end of the round. Oh, she's going to switch it to a Kimura here. She can if she wants. I don't know if she's going to. It's there. Yep, she did. She's got a Kimura there. But
time running out.
The time's up, and she's up against the fence, so she won't be able to get leverage on it. But that was a nice transition.
Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Hudson Shipping Innovation.
Again, 3 deep breaths. Breathing in water, ice on her, breathe. That's it. Again, breathe. One more time. All right. Take some water. One more time.
You ready for this rush again? She's gonna rush.
Nadia, she's gonna look to take this
Not with flashy shit.
10-8 round.
Yeah.
She's gonna run this time.
Breathe. Just breathe. Same exact shit. Distance, along with your jab, set up your strikes. If you want to take her down, you can take her down all day, every day. She has nothing for you.
She's there all day.
Yep.
You're looking good. It's a 10-8 round. She didn't have nothing for you. No answer, nothing. You dominated every control.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Feeling good. Keep listening. Doing good.
Let's go.
Christy Pearson getting us started for round 2. Dom, you heard both corners. Any major takeaway on either side?
Well, I know you didn't hear Cassim Corner say much, but I'm telling you, breathing is so important, and those big 4 deep breaths that he had her take really helps so that you can take instruction after that.
Well, the book on Cassim is that she has pretty good cardio, but she's got 3 wins in 26 seconds or less. 4 of her 5 pro fights have ended in round 1. So see how it goes. If De La Rosa can extend her and puts her right on her back here early round 2.
Well, what we're seeing out of the stand-up so far is that her chin stays straight up, and she only has long punches. So when Montana De La Rosa gets in close into the pocket, she really doesn't have any answer. And then she gets in on the takedown, puts her on her back.
Big chest, big shot.
And Cassim was expectant that De La Rosa was going to bring her this type of fight, but easier said than done to prepare for it and to execute.
Well, I mean, the wrestling of De La Rosa is very evident in this matchup. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a wrestler versus somebody who's practiced a lot of jiu-jitsu off their back. And Cassim needs to use a little bit of wrestling mixed into the jiu-jitsu in order to get off her back to her feet. And right now she's missing that little transition, so she's getting out-grappled as a result. Arm trapped, looking for mount. Is De La Rosa really just kind of bullying Cassim on her back right now? Cassim needs to get to a hip, dig a right underhook, get to her left hip, and try to at least roll to a single, push that knee off her belly, something. But with the knee on belly like that, there's the mount. Now she transitioned to a triangle. Beautiful transition, beautiful. And now she's elbowing, and she's gonna look to finish here, ladies and gentlemen. That's tight.
Cassim in desperation mode here.
Straight to an armbar transition. That's pretty tight.
Man, she's tough.
I mean, these girls are so flexible, though. It's so hard to finish somebody flexible. I mean, it's like, look at her arm being bent, and she's still not tapping. So tough. And not that it won't happen, but it's very hard to get a finish when somebody's flexible like this.
Cassim staying composed and staying in this fight.
Well, she also has the blood choke in, so she didn't get the armbar to the joint. She also transitioned back to the triangle, and she's got it in deep. Cassim being very tough right now, but the blood is getting slowly sucked out of her brain right now as she keeps this triangle in, and she's getting more and more tired, and that's why you're seeing her go to her back, because the blood's going slowly. The longer you stay in this position, the harder it gets. Look how flexible she is. Brings the leg. She's trying everything she can to get out of this. And De La Rosa doing a great job keeping that cinched in there. Keeping the arm going back and forth. Triangle, armbar, triangle, armbar. Now she's controlling the thumb. Got it.
Oh, looked like, yep.
That was it.
So Montana De La Rosa submits Nadia Cassim. Cassim came in 5-0. She is 5-1 now. Dominant wall-to-wall for Montana De La Rosa tonight.
I mean, that was a very dominant performance by De La Rosa.
So a wrestling and grappling clinic out of the 14th ranked contender, Montana De La Rosa. This fight replay is brought to you by Nemiroff, bold character since 1872.
We see here, nice takedown from the body lock position. Straight to half guard. And then she passes, goes straight to a triangle. I mean, that was beautiful. That transition was just beautiful. She controlled the hand control, went to mount straight to the body, or to the triangle, then starts doing damage to set up the submission better and get it locked in deeper. But what was beautiful is how she transitioned to this arm bar, kept it tight, and then goes back to the triangle as soon as Gastlum gets out of it. I mean, this is locked in there, and then finally that last one was a verbal tap. It wasn't an actual tap, she yelled tap, and that was it.
And De La Rosa immediately stopped applying pressure. Cracked a smile there. She's a very subdued young lady, but that's a big win for her here tonight. As we mentioned, came into this one with a number next to her name, 10th career win, and once it's official, the 8th career win by submission for the flyweight contender, Montana De La Rosa. All right, to make this one official now, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Peter Hickbott has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 37 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by submission due to an armbar, Montana De La Rosa!
All right, Melbourne here with your winner, Montana De La Rosa. Congratulations on a dominant performance here tonight. Near flawless. Got to feel pretty good about it, I would think.
Yeah, I feel great. First of all, I want to thank everybody back home. You know, Tony Cabello, my family, Zaylin, all my training partners and all my coaches, my husband, Mark De La Rosa, Douglas Frey, Albert Hughes, everyone at Genesis Jiu-Jitsu.
So Nadia came in with a lot of hype. She was an undefeated fighter, but you didn't give her any distance or time. You closed the distance right away. Was that the strategy, to immediately get up inside her and take the fight to the ground?
The strategy was actually to keep it on the feet. You know, I wanted to touch her a little bit, but she was kind of falling back, and I was ready to secure that tap out.
You were working on a number of different submissions down the stretch. Was it a verbal tap? Did she submit verbally at the end of the fight?
She did both. She kind of tapped and she submitted verbally. Yeah, she was really tough to submit. Her arms were kind of gumbo-y. It was kind of hard to find that submission, but all props to her. She's a great opponent.
Got to feel pretty good when you go through a hard training camp, and this is the result, a dominant performance. You came in a ranked fighter, number 14 in the world. What does the rest of 2019 hold for Montana De La Rosa?
Yeah, you know, I'm number 14 right now, but I kind of want to get through these last couple Ultimate Fighter contracts so I can start getting paid what a top 10 fighter needs to get paid, you know? So I just want to keep getting more fights and keep racking up the wins.
Couldn't have gone much better tonight. Pleasure to watch you perform. Melbourne, let's hear it. Your winner, Montana De La Rosa.
Awesome fight by Montana De La Rosa. I mean, just went out there and put a Matt Hughes-esque type of performance on. Just takedown, ground and pound, submissions, position. I mean, it was pure dominance in that matchup. Awesome.
Well, the stars are out tonight. The Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, is in the building. Also with us tonight, the former strawweight champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and the number 9 ranked lightweight contender, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. UFC 234 world inactivity, of course, has bumped Velasquez out of the top 5, but his return, Tom, about as anticipated as it gets.
Well, if anyone knows about being bumped out of the top 5 due to not being busy enough, it's me. But I'll tell you this, Cain Velasquez is one of the greatest heavyweights that I've ever seen, period. And if he didn't have these injuries, I truly believe he would not only be in the top 5, probably the top 2, and he is extremely dominant. That is one of the coolest fights ever. You got Ngannou, who's a powerhouse with his knockouts, versus Cain Velasquez, who's a powerhouse with his wrestling and everything else that he touches. James Vick, the Texecutioner, has crazy power in his hands, nasty jiu-jitsu. Courtney Casey versus Cynthia Calvillo, excuse me. She's just grimy. Calvillo wants to make it as dirty as possible. Courtney doesn't take a step back for anyone. Caceres makes it as flashy as possible, facing a jiu-jitsu phenom in Gracie. Luque, who knocked out somebody on this fight, who's been on this card tonight, one of the greatest in Brazil. Andre Miles Jury, you can't miss this card.
And we will be with you next Sunday night, 9 in the East, 6 in the West. That one will be live on ESPN. Quick look at the prelim lineup. These fights also yours on ESPN. A couple of very interesting fights at bantamweight. Benito Lopez will try to cool off Manny Bermudez. And the featured bout, 2 of the division's top contenders, Jimmy Rivera and Aljamain Sterling, all live next Sunday night from the desert. But what a time of year to be in Melbourne, Australia. Natural water views in every direction. This event sold out 8 minutes after tickets went on sale. A lot of fighters, of course, with local ties to the area. And they will all try to produce here in front of a passionate capacity crowd here at the Rod Laver Arena. All right, as we get ready for our next fight, pretty incredible numbers here, Dom, when it comes to one. Ronnie Yaya tied with bantamweight champ TJ Dillashaw for the most combined finishes in the UFC and WC with 8. Tonight, Yaya chases a 4th straight win by submission in this division that, according to many, has never been stronger. Well, Ricky Simón has made quite the impression in his first 2 UFC fights. We'll see how his aggressive style plays tonight against the decorated jiu-jitsu player, Ronnie Yaya. 8 years of battling all comers in the UFC has led Brazilian submission whiz Ronnie Yaya to tonight's main card, and the opportunity to make his case to fight the division's elite. But to reap the rewards of his hard work, he first has to send up-and-comer Ricky Simón down to defeat.
Rick Simon has a style that is very good for my game, and he's gonna get knocked out or submitted today.
Ronnie's a true veteran of the sport. You know, he's been fighting for a long time, and a win over him puts me right where I want to be, which is, you know, closer to that title contention.
Approaching his prime at the most opportune time, Ricky Simón's 7-fight winning streak has him looking better than ever. And after defeating Merab Dvalishvili and Montel Jackson in his first 2 UFC bouts, he believes he is ready for the challenge ahead of him in Ronnie Yaya.
I'm very confident I can break Ronnie in this fight. With my pace and my pressure, I don't think anyone can keep up with me.
One of MMA's true specialists, Ronnie Yaya's ground game has been dominant ever since he first graced the octagon. And if anything, he's getting deadlier with his submission. He has finished Henry Briones, Russell Doane, and Luke Sanders in successive bouts en route to Melbourne tonight.
I will show the world today that I deserve to fight against the very best fighters in this division and fight for the title.
All right, here's the no-nonsense Ricky Simón, 14 up and 1 down. He brings with him a 7-fight winning streak into this 3rd UFC appearance. And Megan, I'll leave you a lot of respect already on the name Ricky Simón.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading into this fight, John, you mentioned that Ricky Simón has impressed a lot so far in the octagon. However, he hasn't impressed himself. He said he's his own toughest critic. He believes that he got a little bit of the bright light syndrome. He said the more outings he has inside the octagon, the more comfortable he becomes with this platform. He believes should he win against Ronnie Yaya, he should get that number 14 ranking. He wants to crack that top 15.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's ever a guy to go back to how he started, which is not comfortable, it would be this fight. You don't want to get too comfortable when you face Ronnie Yaya. He is a specialist. All he needs is one takedown, Megan. And if he gets that takedown, he might not get the submission, but I almost guarantee you he's going to burn the clock and try to get you as heavy as you can, get your muscles full of blood so that you can't punch him in the next round.
Yeah, Ricky actually told me, hey, there's no secret to what Yaya's game plan is heading into this, but he told me his jiu-jitsu coach, Fabiano Schörner, has reffed matches for him multiple times for Ronnie Yaya, so he believes that his coaches have a little bit of insight into what he will bring in the grappling department.
And that's an important point that I want to hammer home, right? Fabiano Schörner, Gracie Baja Portland, reffing several of Ronnie Yaya's jiu-jitsu matches. They've worked back takes, guillotines, the Darce choke, heel hooks. Simón feels about as prepared as he possibly could be for what's coming his way. Be careful, though. Ronnie Yaya, a very dangerous man, getting ready for his 37th pro MMA fight. Well, before the pronunciation police goes crazy, I know you think it's Hani. He wants to be Ronnie. So we're doing what Ronnie wants us to do. He's number 15 in the world. And for my money, Dom, just criminally underappreciated in terms of the body of work. 16th UFC appearance, 11-3 with a no contest. And now with this winning streak, 3 in a row, all by submission, he's really as close to contention as he's been in 4 or 5 years.
You're exactly right, Anik. And the truth is, the reason why he's underappreciated to an extent is people don't really know how good he is at positions that people normally get out of. So when Ronnie Yaya takes you down, there's a set of positions that everybody goes to. In those positions, off one takedown, he doesn't let you get away. So when he's got a single leg, somehow he keeps a hold of you. When he's got a back take, somehow he keeps a hold of you. This man just stays on you like white on rice, and he does not let up. he tries to get you as heavy as possible, and then as the rounds go on with that grappling, you almost have no energy to strike with him anymore, which makes his striking up with yours. Plus, he can throw as hard as he wants, with as much power as he wants, with almost no balance if he wants, with his kicks and everything else, because he doesn't care if you take him down. And nobody wants to take him down. They want to keep this man standing with them. So he's tried to fix the game with his stand-up, get better at it, and now he's filling in the gaps. And it's interesting to watch Rani Yahya improve over the years. I watched him dominate Mike Brown in a grappling match in the WEC, so we know he's got what it takes.
This Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Rani Yahya, 34 years old. Ricky Simón is just 26. Both fighters 5'6" tall. Slight 2-inch reach advantage with one Ricky Simón. All right, now to get us started for this featured bout in the bantamweight division, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a wrestler holding a professional record, 14 wins, 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Vancouver, Washington, USA, Ricky Simón. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 26 wins, 9 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Brasilia, Brazil, Rani Yahya. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Steve Percival.
Steve Percival, our referee. The great Red De La Cruz getting us started for round 1. 3 rounds if needed in the UFC's 135-pound division. Rani Yahya's never been finished in the UFC. Challenged for the WEC belt all the way back in 2007. And I love this quote from Yahya when he was training early on. He said, "All my days in my 20s used to be sore days." So with an added emphasis on recovery, he's training primarily out of South Florida's American Top Team. And he's just training the right way, and the results certainly speak to that.
Nice high kick by Yahya. Simón knows the takedown's coming eventually, so he says, I got to stand my ground and hit him harder than he hits me, and he's going to back up. He won't be trying to shoot. If I keep the pressure, I'll force his shots out, and that's what he wants to do now. Keep the pressure. He'll force Yahya to shoot when he doesn't want to, and then it's easier to defend it. We've got to watch out, because Yahya's a veteran in the game. He's been in this a very long time. He's like a koala bear, man. If he gets a hold of you, oh yeah, he does not let go.
Level change from Yahya. Tonight, the first fight outside the United States for Ricky Simón.
Oh, big uppercut, but you see, Rani's willing to trade because he knows, go ahead and take me down. So he's just going to stand his ground and throw as hard as he can, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yahya takes exception with those who think he's just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist. Loaded up on the right hand there. Simón able to evade.
Nice one, too, by Yahya. His jab's looking good.
I know that the Rani habit's a hard one to break. Nice shot lands there for Ricky Simón.
Well, it used to be what you had to call him.
I know.
So I'll go with Rani. Sorry, Rani. Nice jab by Rani again. And you see how hard he throws it. I mean, he's leaning over his knee. It's not all balanced, but it's not always the prettiest, but he'll knock you out. He's throwing hard. There's that shot. And Simón says, I just got to stop his single. If I stop his single and just keep punching him with power, he's going to stop shooting. Big body kick.
Oh, Yahya backs up Simón with the right hand.
Hurts him. He's got him.
Oh, huge right from Simón. And another one for good measure. Yahya covering up.
And this is where Yahya's dangerous. He'll pull you into the grappling, and he could be knocked out and still sweep you, so you got to be careful.
And no surprise, Simón says, get back to the feet. Simón closing the distance here, feints.
Big power from Simón. Oh, another huge left hook.
Yahya back to his feet. The question is for how long? Flying knee just misses as Yahya is able to cover up.
Simón showing huge power. Great takedown defense. Good patience.
A wayward spinning attack from Yahya. Looked like he might have landed right on his head, and no surprise, Simone is not going to engage Yaya on the ground. Beautiful body shot from Simone.
Oh, big uppercut up against the fence, and Yaya's got to get his feet moving.
It's a nice right hand from Yaya. Simone eats it without issue.
And he's still hurt, Yaya. He's throwing hard because he's hurt. He's trying to get his composure back. Good defense. He knows the single's coming now. So Simone's ready for it.
Simone stalks his prey. Yaya kept that guard high.
Ooh, big fight. It's an uppercut to the body instead of the head, which makes it hard to shoot underneath it. That's a smart move. And there's this down block to stop the high crotch. Down block is when you get the arm down in front of the body like a gate before they can get to your legs. And that's what Simone's doing really well against Rani Yaya, is hitting his down blocks.
Ricky Simone, all business tonight. Looking to take Rani Yaya's ranking with him back stateside.
And see how Simone's heading him off. He's not chasing Rani. He's taking his time, being patient. He's heading him off instead of chasing him all over the cage. And now he's not able to pull him into a big power, being Rani.
Nemiroff, bold character since 1872.
Nice timing. He's timing the right hand of Rani so well to just go right underneath it. And Rani's just like, please come to my guard so I can get a second. I'm tired of getting punched.
Yaya back to his feet. 15 seconds now to go round one.
Yaya's always, oh, goodness, a big
raised him partially with the head kick there. Final 10 seconds. Nice slip by Ricky Simone.
Yeah, because Rani's throwing so hard, he's able to see it coming.
Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Hudson Shipping Innovation.
Me dá três respiradas bem forte, Rani.
Give me 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths.
Olha só.
Check it out.
Você não pode ficar entrando de longe.
You can't be shooting in from far. Every time you're making him walk backwards, you're getting in on him. Let's use our hands to make him walk back. Let's get him against the cage. You landed a right and then you walk back. Only kick when he's walking back.
And we see here, jab to a right hand, but just not quick enough. Loads it a little too much. Simone lands first. Big right hand, puts Rani down. Big right hook, puts Rani down again. And it's because Ronnie's loading that right hand so heavy that Simone's just able to see it before he throws it and counter it immediately.
Sage advice from Pahumpa Marcos Damata in the corner of Rani Yaya. Of course, easier said than done to back Ricky Simone up against the fence to take him down. Yaya lands his first kick of round 2.
And his coach just said, you can't back up. Ooh, that hurt. You see the way Simone checked that kick? I'm telling you, those hurt. Like his foot hurts right now, I promise. He throws it right away up the middle instead of down to the knee again. But don't think that Ronnie's out of this fight. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen. He's always in it. He's a veteran.
Fought Mike Brown in his UFC debut. That was a win in January of 2011. Then Chad Mendes in his second UFC appearance. You can argue this is the closest he's been to contention since that time. He was number 14 in the world going into the Joe Soto fight.
Simone looking sharp. He sees everything being thrown at him. He's never getting off balance. He times the takedowns and doesn't engage all the way to the mat. I mean, everything he's doing is the perfect fight to fight Rani Yaya.
Just for show.
This is so frustrating. The guy won't go down into your guard and let you piece together the full mixture of MMA, forcing him to stay striking.
Three and a half minutes to go here, round 2. Simone feints, trying to close the distance yet again. Yaya advances, nothing doing. And now a cut you see to the right of the right eye of Ricky Simón.
Yeah, big right hand. I mean, Ronnie's catching him in every now and then. Don't think he's not hitting them. It's just that Simón's landing bigger shots a little bit more.
Well, the unofficial numbers tell you significant strikes landed. Simón 30, Yaya 29.
There you go. And Ronnie stays in the fight in a different way than you think. He does land. He throws combinations now and then. It's because he's not worried about you trying to take him down. Like I said, he doesn't care. And all he needs is one of those singles to finish.
Not a terrible entry there, but Simón too quick.
Simón knew exactly the type of shot that Ronnie was going to take. He said he's going to shoot with his head on the outside single. That's all I got to defend, and he's done. And so far, that's all Ronnie shot so far.
Straight shot there from Ronnie Yaya, we're being told, and now we see it. A clash of heads caused that opening on the right side of Ricky Simón.
I wonder if the judges actually know that, you know?
Doubt it.
So does that go against Simón in the scorecards? That's so interesting because it's a headbutt. It's not legal. So,
well, oftentimes you'll see a referee audibly say it was a headbutt that caused the cut, but Stu Percival did not, I don't believe. Under 2 minutes now to go in round 2 of a possible 3.
And this is why it's so hard to finish Ronnie, because you can't fall him to the mat. Oh! That's all he wanted, that one right hand. That's what I'm telling you. You have to be careful because you can't go to the mat with this guy. And Ronnie can throw as hard as he wants at any time. So all he's got to do is land a couple, get that one takedown, and then it's a problem. Now he's a problem for Simón all of a sudden.
Now Yaya with an extra burst, plenty of time with which to work here, round 2. Simón leads with an elbow, unable to land.
Simón keeping his footwork going very nicely. Oh, huge. Oh my goodness, a nice elbow lands by Simón. This has turned out to be an awesome fight. Oh, and actually that what just dropped on Yaya was basically a bump. He bumped him with the shoulder on his way in. I like to call it a crash. You crash into him so they can't keep the pressure. And that crash just really hurt.
You don't see that every day, right? Like a linebacker going in to make a tackle.
But that's exactly what Simón said he had to do. He said, I got to stand my ground when he comes in and hit him with power, and then he can't back me up and take me down. And he's exactly right. Got to watch out for that right hand of Ronnie, though.
Simón splits the guard with the left hand, now connects to the body. 40 seconds to go in the round. That's some slick stuff on the feet from Simón as he sticks and moves.
And that's nice of Simón to do that. I mean, you guys, people at home might not understand. Why is he taking him down, not engaging? Because it messes up the rhythm of the stand-up. It buys Simón some time. It makes Ronnie think a little bit. Makes him feel a little bit silly getting dumped on his butt, even though it doesn't do a lot of damage. And that was an illegal kick, technically. That was straight to the face while he's on his knees. That's illegal. So
you see Simón partially engaging Yaya, but trying to keep his distance now at the end of the round. He'll engage.
With 10 seconds left, he'll engage in the guard, but I don't suggest doing that through the whole fight. So we'll see in just a second this headbutt that cut Simón off the double. He crosses over, boom, and you see it right there, just bumps. There's the right hand of Yaya. Uppercut versus the right hand is always the battle, and the right hand won that one. And here's the shoulder crash. He comes up, boom, and leads with the shoulder just to keep Ronnie safe. You know, hey, careful, you're not backing me up.
So be careful of his hands, right? So he's gonna come after you. You're gonna try to take those hands. He might try to stay tight, right? Move your head when you're coming in, okay? You stop a little bit in this round. Okay, you gotta keep that movement you did in the first round. Okay. Put some body kicks in there if you feel like it. Okay. Let's bring a little bit more into the table.
Go, coach.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyright work is illegal and punishable under law. Dom, I saw your reaction to the Simón corner advice there. You like some of it, not all of it.
Everything was good. The only thing I don't like is the body kicks. I mean, if you're ever going to give Ronnie a chance to take you down, it's going to be a kick to the ribs where he can catch your leg. So, I mean, just keep it low, keep it high. Keep punching the body, though. That's what I suggest. Rip the body more with your hands.
Simón whips on the counter, and Yaya able to.
And you see how Yaya tried to set up his guard here. He threw a kick and then dived into a guard. That's something that Anderson Silva can do in Adesanya tonight. For those of you at home watching this fight, that's a way that he can give himself a chance too. But Ronnie Yahya just not able to get close enough to do damage to Simone right now.
Yahya back to his feet here. Simone feints, trying to close the distance. Yahya has thrown a lot more strikes than Ricky Simone. Numbers very even in terms of strikes landed here. 4 minutes to go.
And that's a big change for Ronnie. If you watch his fights in the past, I mean, he got completely outstruck by numbers and everything. Only had grappling. I mean, he's filled the gap a lot in his striking in this matchup. Simone's just edging it out with the technique because he's just a little sharper on his feet.
Yahya landed a right hand a moment ago, right on that ear of Ricky Simone.
Ooh, goodness, big punch. And Ronnie just eats it and says, okay, that was nice, thank you.
Well, I think Yahya understands just how big a fight this is in terms of career trajectory, the rankings.
These guys are throwing heat at each other, and they're eating it too. Very impressive to watch these guys meet in the middle and just scrap it out.
Good sprawl from Simone, and gets back to his feet.
Simone's takedown defense looks awesome. You're not even letting him touch his legs, and that's just good down blocks. And that's one of the things that you don't see a lot of in MMA. A lot of guys are good at defense once you grab a hold of the legs, but Simone's not even letting him touch his leg. And that's a step ahead with the grappling and seeing what's coming from Ronnie.
Yahya 0 for 8 unofficially on his takedown attempts through the fight's first 12 minutes. Oh, Yahya loaded up. Simone able to duck under that offering.
Got a cut in the top of Ronnie's head. Not sure what exactly that came from. Probably an elbow in the scramble somewhere. Maybe another headbutt though.
Yahya again out in front, overreaching with that right hand.
Yeah, but he is making an adjustment. He's throwing the right and missing, and now he's seeing that Simone's going underneath it, so he's following with the hook. If he can fake the right and come with the power hook, it might be able to catch him. And yeah, we're seeing another headbutt is what caused the cut on Yahya's head.
Again, Yahya shoots, nothing doing.
Yahya can even pull guard here. He'll grab a hold of your elbows and suck you in, but not able to do it. Simone ain't having it. Body head for Simone. Really starting to put it on Yahya right now. Yahya's getting hurt. The punches are starting to add up. The cumulative damage that Simone's been putting down starting to add up. You're seeing it.
So a dominant first round for Ricky Simone, and now the fight has settled in a little bit. New scoring. You could make an argument it was a 10-8 for Simone in round 1.
Yeah.
Traditionalists will argue that point until the cows come home, but there's a discussion.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I mean, right when you start, I don't even know what rules are what anymore. I mean, you start getting it and they give you a whole new set of rules in a different country, in a different states, area, who knows? You're just doing the best you can at this point when you're fighting. Because these, these commissions just change the rules every chance they get.
Yeah, but I think we're setting our ways with a 10-9 round. One guy clearly wins. We think it's a 10-9 and we move on when the new scoring was supposed to make 10-8s more frequent and have judges use them more liberally. Takedown for Simone, 1 minute to go in the fight now.
I mean, you can just see, Simone's doing so much damage, but that's just how hard it is to finish Ronnie Yahya. He stays in the fight, and the fact that you can't go to the ground with him, and he's so threatening on the ground is just really the issue of why it's hard to finish him. You got 40 seconds, and that's enough time that you can try to play in the guard of Yahya, because you can't give Yahya more than about a minute at a time on the ground because he makes adjustments on the ground. But 40 seconds, 30 seconds or so at a time, you're probably safe if you're Simone, especially with his defense.
30 seconds now to go in a fight that has been yet another showcase for the UFC's bantamweight division that many would argue has never been stronger in terms of the top 20 than it is right now.
I mean, it's beautiful watching the bantamweight division right now because there was a time when it was only 155 pounds and up. And I, was one of the first people to start this weight class with Uriah Faber. And, it's nice to see that when guys show up to the division and fight for it, because a lot of guys are moving divisions and doing this and doing that. We got to keep these divisions alive.
Shades of Clay Guida out of Ricky Simone there down the stretch.
Awesome matchup by these guys. They put it all out for the fans.
This fight replay is brought to you by Nemiroff, bold character since 1872.
Huge right hand, just floors Ronnie Yahya. Nice right hook. Just clips him, spins him to the floor. He goes for the uppercut in Simone, and finally Ronnie lands that overhand that he'd been winging all night. Nice takedowns all night by Simone. Perfect timing, never engaged too far into the jiu-jitsu, and that's pretty much how this fight went. Big shots landed, lots of takedown attempts, great cardio. This was a chess match, ladies and gentlemen. It was an awesome fight.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers because I think they're interesting from this fight if we could. Rani Yahya attempted 9 takedowns unofficially, unable to land any of them. On the other side, Ricky Simone landed 4 of 5, but he wasn't going to engage in that realm. Significant strikes, 61 to 50 in favor of Simone. Yahya threw 40 more strikes, and of course the 2 big knockdowns for Ricky Simone. Yahya had 1 big connect. Simone was able to stay upright. And all indications are this will be the 8th consecutive win for Ricky Simone, but you just never know.
Simone is durable as they come. We found that out tonight. So is Ron.
All right, co-main event coming up next. First, Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 30-27, 30-27, and 30-25 for the winner by unanimous decision, Ricky Simone.
What a fight, gentlemen. What a great showcase for the bantamweight division. Here he is, Ricky Simone, 15-1, 8th consecutive win. Got to feel good about that one, man. That guy is no picnic.
Hell no, he's not. Australia, what is up? Damn, I'm trying to put on a show for you guys. Heck yeah.
So you had to deal with some adversity in the fight. The cut, obviously, due to a headbutt. He did land once on the feet, but this was your fight, and you certainly took it to him early enough.
Dang, did I get cut? Yeah, no, he's a specialist. His jiu-jitsu is, I feel like, one of the best in the UFC. You know, I kind of picture him as like the Damian Maia of the bantamweight division. So we were worried about that, but he knew he had to get me down to the ground. So we were out there throwing for you guys. That was a lot of fun.
He came in as the ranked fighter. You're going to have a number next to your name next week. Talk us through the rest of 2019 for Ricky Simone.
Man, that's what it's about for me. I'm here to make it to the top. I'm sacrificing myself in the gym all the time to put on a show for you guys. So thank you guys for coming out. I hope you guys had a good time.
I think they did. You certainly maximized the showcase. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Ricky Simone.
Matt, Damon and Chris Hemsworth. Is that Thor? Oh my God, I just want to, does he carry the hammer with him? I mean, I'm a little fan. I think I'm a little starstruck over here. I love the Avengers. Is that weird?
No, I got to get over there and congratulate Matt Damon on another New England Patriots Super Bowl championship.
Get it in there while you can, right?
All right, these locker room shots are brought to you by the Australian Leisure and Hospitality Group with over 300 pub venues as the official martial arts. Numbers don't always tell the entire story. And there may be no better example of that than Lando Venata, whose UFC record doesn't reflect the excitement he brings on fight night, nor his status as one of the lightweight division's top prospects. Winner of post-fight bonuses in his first 4 UFC starts, Venata hopes to kick off 2019 with a win to remember against Brazil's Marcos Mariano, who enters the octagon for the first time with wins in 4 of his last 5, and the perfect platform to kick off the next chapter of his career in style. Coming up next, groovy Lando Venata squares off against Marcos Mariano. Well, what a moment for the 32-year-old Brazilian Marcos Mariano. This was a day that he thought might never come. 32 years old, he now arrives at the UFC debut. He started training at 15 years old, but he felt like opportunities early on were hard to come by. Didn't always have the familial support that you would like to pursue this venture. And now here he is on fight day, getting moved from Fight Pass to the co-main event, live on pay-per-view.
Yeah, Mariano's one of the guys from Brazil that you look at his record, it's 6-4, but I guarantee you it's probably like 25-4. He's got a bunch of fights on the record that you probably have no idea about, underground or amateur or whatever else. So he is well seasoned, great jiu-jitsu, typical Muay Thai stand-up in the sense that that's the style that he braces himself for. He's just very dynamic, long, crafty from the outside.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Tab. Who are you backing? Well, Mariano has said his inspiration is Anderson Silva. There's a little bit of a physical resemblance as well. He's won 4 of his last 5 overall. Muay Thai background, blue belt in jiu-jitsu. You'll see some side kicks out of him. But again, in terms of the professional experience, 10 pro fights against 14 for Lando Vannata. He acknowledged Vannata's experience and his toughness, but he feels like he is just as tough as Lando, and he is out to prove it as plus 325 underdog here tonight.
Well, let's hope that he doesn't have to count on his toughness tonight against Lando Vannata, because that's the last thing you want to have to do. He's very creative, very fast, and very flashy with the strikes. But I think the key for Marcos Mariano tonight is staying consistent, staying true to his fundamentals, using his length, using his size to stay conventional and be able to deal with the crazy offense of Lando Vannata with discipline.
Mariano has really embraced everything that Fight Week has had to offer. He's been very composed and just excited for the opportunity. Of course, he was to compete this morning, and now he's in the co-main event. So certainly a more pressure-packed environment for Marcos Mariano than he expected. We'll see how it goes for him here tonight against the soon-to-walk groovy Lando Vannata.
That was a long song.
Well, if you get bored one day, just Google or go on UFC Fight Pass and enter the name Lando Vannata. 7th UFC appearance here tonight. Who can forget his unforgettable UFC debut against Tony Ferguson, and one of 4 bonuses he earned in late 2016, what was his 7th career first-round knockout against the Canadian John Macdessi.
Well, he says, you know, my plan in this is just to mentally break this man. That's my favorite thing to do. That's how I have the most fun, is to break them sort of like, I don't even have to fight him anymore. Their mind shatters and then they're just done. Favorite things to do are outdoor stuff. He likes to run around. He used to BMX ride, and I think that's true to why he's got so much explosiveness. I mean, any of those BMX riders, you know, you come right out the gate, you gotta have that explosive, get the lead. And I mean, all these sports in mixed martial arts all translate to athleticism no matter what you've done in your life. That's what's so interesting about this. You can come from any background and make a way in a fight. Lando Vannata embraces that. He's very, very creative with his strikes, but what's impressive to me is that all the creative stuff that he throws, he's also extremely accurate with it. He doesn't miss where he throws very often. Wherever he aims at, he lands.
Nice to see old friend Kyle Note in the corner of Lando Vannata, and here is that Macdessi.
And look how he pokes that knee and then spin kick. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. He just tosses it out there knowing it's gonna land. He's just so accurate, directly on the chin, looking at his opponent when he lands it, picture perfect. He's not just winging it out there, he's landing. He's set it up with that knee teep. And he's gonna do that in this fight, especially with this taller man. So watch that knee teep that he throws. Same one John Jones throws, same one we would have saw to Robert Whittaker tonight if he fought. But we'll see how he sets it up.
And you see Greg Jackson still in the corner of Lando Vannata, but much was made of his camp switch going into his last fight. He's still training at Jackson's, but it's a satellite gym, not in Albuquerque. And that produced a draw against Matt Frivola his last time out. All right, this Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Lando Vannata still just 26 years old. Marcos Mariano, 32, as he arrives at the UFC debut. He is the taller man and will enjoy a 5-inch edge in reach. All right, they will soon close the door behind them. First, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. Sponsored by Neverov, bold character since 1872. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a striker holding a professional record, 6 wins, 4 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 155 pounds. Fighting out of Curitiba, Parana, Brazil, Marcos Mariano. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 9 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 156 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA, Groovy Lando Veneta. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Steve Percival.
Steve Percival, our referee. UFC 234, Adesanya versus Silva is presented by Tab. Who are you backing? All right, here we go with the co-main event.
Let's go, gentlemen.
Groovy Lando Veneta is in green. Marcos Mariano is in yellow.
Watch that knee poke. That's how Lando likes to get his range. He'll touch you with his feet first, and then he'll follow up with his hands generally. But look at the size of Mariano. Oh, my gosh.
Every bit 6'1".
Goodness, so tall. And exactly what you got to do. You got to kick right off the bat. And those calf kicks of Veneta are very well documented in his past, and he's hurt a lot of people with those. And this guy's got his knee turned in, so if there's ever a time to land a calf kick, it's on Mariano.
Nice mix of knockouts and submissions on the resume of Lando Veneta. Wrestled 1 year at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Loaded up on the right hand there, nothing doing.
Powerful left switch kick. Mariano. He's got those Inspector Gadget legs. I mean, I feel like you don't think they're going to hit you, and then he's so long, he does.
They exchanged low leg kicks there. About a minute gone by here in round one.
Watch Veneta for his starting from 0 going to 60 miles an hour. I mean, his way of changing speeds is just pretty impressive. And this is when it's annoying trying to take down Tito, but he makes it look very simple with that body lock.
Yeah, got that body locked and executes the takedown nicely.
Now let's see the jiu-jitsu of Mariano, or if he just stays on his back, accepts the position, and that's what it's looking like now. I mean, we need to see Mariano get his legs out of there. And right now he looks clueless. He's flat on his back. He's not kicking it. He's not trying to fight the knees. He's digging an underhook, but that's not the issue right now. Right now he needs to deal with getting his legs out of there.
A lot of people expected, given the matchup, that Veneta might lean on the wrestling chops a little bit. And he gets the takedown here early in round one. Mariano trying to control posture here.
I think we're going to see Veneta just be happy to kind of soften up Mariano on his back right here. Get him a little tired before he starts trying to strike with him. Kind of like how a wolf does. They tire out the bigger, longer opponent by chasing them forever, and then when they get tired, then they go for the kill. I mean, that's what I think we're trying to see out of Veneta here. He's just got to stay out of this offense.
Veneta staying composed here inside the closed guard of Marcos Mariano.
Mariano doing good controlling the posture. You see how he's grabbing the neck, trying to lift the legs up, pulling the guard high. I mean, those long limbs, you don't know how crafty they are, and then those elbows can land. That's a problem with such a long stature. It's just annoying to try to grab a hold of these guys. It's like holding onto a kitchen table, you know?
Well, right after tonight's main event, don't miss a recap of all the action from Australia on the UFC 234 post-show on ESPN+. Chael Sonnen, Gilbert Melendez, and me will break it all down tonight live on ESPN+.
Veneta doing good keeping the posture high so he can land shots. And Mariano's in the hand-fighting position. But he really needs to open his guard, I would say, something, because closing your guard, letting Veneta have posture, I mean, what are you doing here? Are you just eating shots? Are you trying to be offensive from your back? Are you trying to get up? You're burning the clock. Which is it? Because, like, Veneta's not even trying to hold him down at all.
Right.
So, what are we doing from our back?
Begs the question. Veneta able to land there.
So that's the battle. If the man on top is punching with posture, then that's your chance to try to put your feet on the hips, put your feet on the chest, and create some space to get back to your feet. If the man's hugging you, then you got to use jiu-jitsu. But right now, he's just taking a beating from his back in Mariano.
A couple big elbows landed for Veneta. Mariano didn't like that last one. Under a minute now to go in round one.
I like to see Mariano use some butterfly hooks. I mean, look at his legs. Like, put those into the groin of Vannata to try to create some space. Dig some underhooks, some butterflies. Put some feet on the hips. Put your feet on the chest. Something. But sitting here with your long legs and letting Vannata sit in your guard and punch you doesn't look like fun to me.
Vannata making these ground strikes count here towards the end of round one.
There's the space that Mariano needs to create. See how he's putting the feet up. Vannata pushes right through it. Mariano staying on the back, north-south position here. Vannata's going to switch to a key lock and go for the finish here. That's it. That's it. That's a tap.
Lando Vannata, late in round one, gets the submission win.
Pure dominance
Wow.
from Lando Vannata. Incredible. I mean, that was a perfect display of technique from the top position on a man who's not using space to get up.
And you got to feel good for Lando Vannata as he comes over and shares a minute with UFC President Dana White. You got to feel good for Lando, though. 2 of his last 3 coming in had gone to a draw. He certainly left the judges out of it tonight. This fight replay brought to you by Nemiroff. Bold character since 1872.
Beautiful takedown. I mean, just gets underneath the hips of Mariano and then a big elbow to soften up Mariano. He didn't like that at all. He goes to get closer. He's like, ouch, what's going on here? Then this is it. He gets the head localizes the key to this submission. Once you lock that head in with your knees, now you can just wrench that arm, and that's what we're seeing here. Taps Mariano, and as we see, crank, 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 crank. Oh, man, that ref needs to pay attention. That 2 seconds is enough to blow his shoulder out.
Kyle Note, Greg Jackson, and crew like what they saw there. Nick Urso. Last submission win for Lando Vannata, December of 2014. Hard to argue with that effort and result here tonight. Now Bruce Buffer to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Percival has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 55 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a Kimura, groovy Lando Vannata!
All right, here with your winner, very happy, groovy Lando Vannata. If my research is accurate, your last submission win was December of 2014. Got to feel pretty good about this result tonight.
Well, first of all, I've always wanted to do this, and I'll probably never have the chance again. So, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
So a crazy day for you as you move from Fight Pass to the co-main event. What were the last 6 or 8 hours like for you today?
Well, I woke up, I felt good. I was about to go down to the bus, got the news. So I went and got food, went back to sleep.
Yeah, a few extra hours. We're going to take a look at your handiwork. You got the early takedown, and he was unable to handle anything you had for him on the ground. And late in round one, you get the Kimura to close the show.
Nice elbow. Yeah, I mean, it just went according to plan. Yeah, we wanted to come in here. We know he's a decent striker, so we wanted to take him down. Me and Harry St. Ledger, who couldn't be with us here today, we've been executing this all camp, and it played out perfectly.
We know the UFC put you in this slot for a reason. I know you shared a moment with Dana White after the fact. Care to share what you said to the UFC press?
Just a big fat thank you.
All right, man, how soon are you going to turn this thing around and get back in here?
Yeah, no, there's a guy that I've been wanting to fight for ages. I got tons of respect for him. We got a similar lifestyle, and he's another high-ranking guy in the lightweight division. And if Jim Miller would do me the honor of stepping in here with me this summer, I would absolutely love it.
You've certainly earned an opportunity against another big name. Huge effort tonight. Aussies, let's hear it once more. Groovy Lando Vannata.
Lando Vannata coming out, showing a different style. Gets the takedown, makes it easy on himself, barely takes any damage, gets the Kimura and just cranks the shoulder to the finish. Pure dominance in that matchup, and he switched his style up. That's what MMA is, not taking damage, path of least resistance, getting the finish. Nice job, Lando Vannata.
All right, we are here already, just about ready for our main event between Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva. These locker room shots brought to you by the Australian Leisure and Hospitality Group, with over 300 pub venues as the official home of the UFC. Watching UFC is better at the pub. He is the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Safe to say this man sold a lot of tickets in advance of this one. Few men or women had a bigger 2018. And tonight, who are you backing? These UFC middleweight rankings brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. So for the last 2 years, They have all been chasing the Aussie Robert Whittaker. That includes Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva, number 6 versus number 15. But tonight's winner figures to factor prominently in the middleweight title picture through the rest of 2019. Well, 2 dynamic striking games figure to be on display here as Israel Adesanya's idol becomes his rival. He draws the living legend Anderson Silva in tonight's much-anticipated main event.
This is my pugilism. I've watched all his fights. I know the guy.
He doesn't like the comparisons. He said that he's the first Israel Adesanya.
I know when he's gonna move. I know when he's gonna coast. I know when he's chilling. I know the like the back of my hand. But I said I'm gonna Anderson Silva, Anderson Silva. I'm gonna Israel Adesanya, Anderson Silva.
They say for legends, you idolize them until you stare across the octagon at them. You could not have asked for anything bigger outside of a title shot. You get the GOAT. You get the greatest middleweight the UFC has ever seen.
Anderson's come back to fight for 2 years. I don't have nothing to prove. I'm very happy. People talk, oh, this is your clone and blah, 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 but it's not. It's completely different.
I'm about to do what I'm gonna do to blow past all that comparison. It is what it is. Right now, I just have Anderson Silva in front of me, and I just want to get him out the way so I can progress and be on my way.
Oh! Another knockdown! Israel Adesanya!
When a fight starts, people say, oh, okay, it's not the same, it's not the Anderson clone, but it's completely different.
The guy is the GOAT, but I'm Nigerian. I've been eating goat meat since I was a kid. This is normal to me. It's normal. Just because I'm a fan doesn't mean I can't catch these hands.
A standing ovation from the Aussies as Anderson Silva makes the walk for his 23rd UFC appearance. And if any fan base deserved an opportunity to watch this man compete live before he hangs him up, it is certainly this one. We have witnessed his greatness for the better part of 2 decades. And according to Anderson Silva, he is not done yet.
You know, when you talk to Anderson, we talked to Anderson, and you heard him. I said, why are you still here, man? You've done everything in the sport you could do. You're playing, oh, you got your kids, you got everything you could ever want. Why? What is your drive? Well, the more you get into it, the only reason he's here is for his fans. That is it. And for the people that have watched him compete in this sport, even the athletes like Adesanya, he continues to compete for somebody like Adesanya to show that it can be done. For somebody like me to show that you can still compete no matter how old you are. Anderson Silva competes to show that it can be done and to show everybody who's a fan of him that they can do whatever they want. And that's why he continues.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by Tab. Who are you backing? So Anderson Silva, after embracing Donald Cowboy Cerrone, has an embrace for his cornermen. And this is a guy whose credentials you truly run out of time to set up. Began his UFC career 16-0. That 16-fight winning streak is still a UFC record. He reigned the middleweight division from 2006 to 2013. His last performance at UFC 208, close fight against Derek Brunson. It went his way by unanimous decision. And some were surprised that he accepted this matchup with Adesanya. If you know the man, if you know the fighter, you weren't surprised at all.
No, exactly what you just said, Anik. Anderson Silva's okay for everybody. He wants to fight everybody. He says no to nobody.
Anderson Silva making his first appearance here in Australia. He's got his Spider Kick gym going strong in California, has a satellite location in Brazil as well, has a huge emphasis on recovery and physical therapy. He has never trained smarter. We'll see what Anderson Silva has left in a matter of moments as he tries to hand the last style bender his first professional loss as an MMA fighter. Well, from the moment Israel Adesanya graced the best proving ground in the sport last February in Perth, he appeared destined for greatness. Few fighters have had as much hype coming into a UFC debut and a career as Israel Adesanya. He has lived up to that hype and then some. Had to clear some fight week adversity Monday and Tuesday, but Adesanya, all systems go here tonight. And this man is a quote machine. He has said Anderson Silva is a guy who tries to lower your guard mentally during fight week without you knowing. Adesanya said he hopes he pulls guard here tonight. He can find out what my top game is like. Most people believe these guys are going to stand and exchange on the feet, and I cannot wait to watch it.
There's no doubt they're going to stand on the feet, Anik. It's just a matter of time till we see what actually happens in these matchups, and are they going to come together? Is Anderson Silva going to try to make it as grimy as he can by going to the tie clinch, looking for underhooks? Is Anderson Silva going to pull guard? Is he going to take a shot because he's uncomfortable on his feet? Is Adesanya going to have a hard time finding him? There's so many questions in this matchup. That's why everybody is here to watch it. Can Anderson Silva still compete at this age against an extremely dynamic, fast striker like Israel Adesanya, who's got a K1 kickboxing background and faced some of the best men on planet Earth? We're about to find out.
Well, one of the more interested observers of this fight over my left shoulder right now is the number 4 ranked contender, Kelvin Gastlum, with a belt over his shoulder. He's going to watch the last style bender show here, 5th UFC appearance for Adesanya. And there is a live shot of Kelvin Gastlum. Outstanding cardio, killer instinct, but very patient, hits you with all limbs. He's got the mind and body ready to go tonight. Israel Adesanya, 15-0, as he draws the legend Anderson Silva. This Tale of the Tape is brought to you by AirAsia. Now everyone can fly. Adesanya, 29. Anderson Silva will be 44 in April. Adesanya, the taller man by 2 inches. He will have a 3-inch edge in reach. With that, to get us the introductions for our main event, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Sanctioned by the Victoria Sports and Combat Board. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Garth Harriman, Charlie Keach, and Albert Shen. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Herb Dean. This bout is sponsored by AirAsia. Now anyone can fly. And now, for those in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, Australia. It's time! 3 rounds in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 34 wins, 8 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Curitiba, Paraná, Brazil, presenting the former UFC middleweight champion, Anderson the Spider Silva! And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding an undefeated professional record, 15 wins, no losses. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds. Fighting out of Auckland, New Zealand, by way of Lagos, Nigeria, presenting the number 6 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya!
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. You're gonna keep it clean. Touch gloves and let's do it.
Here we go, folks. Israel Adesanya putting that 15-0 record on the line tonight against the future UFC Hall of Famer, Anderson Silva. I think Adesanya pleasantly surprised that Silva is still fighting as Adesanya enters his fighting prime. He'll be 30 years old in July, and we are underway. Israel Adesanya is in black. Anderson Silva is in yellow.
Anderson Silva, southpaw. See which weapons are going to be fired first. I'd look for an inside kick, probably is what I'm thinking. Outside kick of Adesanya first.
Adesanya very deceptive with his movement and his footwork, constantly in motion and switching stances, but never in a rush, as he told us. I don't pray and hope, I aim and fire. I'm just trying to touch the opponent.
If you watch Anderson, he's always taking his time in the very beginning of the fight. First minute or two, he makes all the reads on timing, range, what weapons you're trying to use, what you're setting up, and then he starts letting go later. We'll find out if he gets that option with Israel.
Most of Adesanya's UFC competition has tried to take him down, Dom. That is not the expectation tonight, but you just never know.
That's what we're hoping for, but he also said that he's looking to stay busy and make Anderson Silva work. People don't make him work hard enough. They don't keep throwing on him enough. And so far, just a lot of flash, not too much work yet.
Very aggressive schedule for Israel Adesanya as he attacks that lead leg of Anderson Silva. 4 UFC fights in 2018 and getting right after it here early 2019. Silva's first strike lands. Adesanya with eyes fixed on the target, presses forward.
Trying to get Anderson to look at his legs first and then let his hands go soon after. But watch that hook kick. That kick that he just threw right there is one of Adesanya's best kicks. He makes it look like it's going to go to the body or low, and then it flips over the top of your defense. It's called a question mark kick, and he's very good with it. And he gets you thinking about a bunch of other things before he lands it.
Two minutes off the round 1 clock.
Anderson's so good at keeping the fight at his pace. I mean, it's been 2 minutes, and there's been almost nothing thrown already.
Adesanya trying to get a beat on his opponent here. Silva ready to counter at all times.
See, there's that question mark kick that I was talking about. And he's getting Anderson to bite on the feints. He fakes. And now Anderson's chasing.
And Adesanya touched Silva with a right hand.
He's hurt.
Big one there.
That hurt him. He needs his hands up.
That got a slight wobble out of Silva. Big right hand now from Adesanya. And now an elbow and a knee for good measure.
I'd like to see Anderson get his hands up and get the pressure going. Those right hand, the punches are landing, and he's reaching for the hands instead of bringing his hands up to his face in Anderson. Adesanya is now starting to get that read.
Inside leg kick lands with authority for Adesanya. 2 minutes now to go, round one.
The feints are the difference. Adesanya's faking, he's faking, and Anderson's just staring. And now he's chasing. He landed one. Can't chase Israel, though. He's got to be careful with the chasing.
Herb Dean just checking to make sure both fighters had their mouthpieces in. They do, and we trudge on.
I think a little slobber just got knocked out.
Body kick from Silva lands under the right elbow of Adesanya.
One thing I don't like Anderson's doing is he's reaching for the hands. Can't reach with Adesanya because the kick comes out of nowhere if you start reaching for his hands. More feints from Anderson would help. Ooh, big right hands landing.
Little showmanship out of Silva. Crowd totally engaged here, 4 minutes in.
See, he's biting on the feints, and that's the issue. Adesanya fakes, Anderson's biting, so he needs to fire or feint first. Nice kick to the, nice teep to the knee of Adesanya to keep the space where he wants it. Watch that hook kick. It's coming soon. He's looking for it. That's what he's trying to set up in Adesanya.
Silva trying to navigate distance, is able to avoid that left kick. Just barely, says Adesanya.
And that's how much you always miss by when both these guys, you try to kick them, you got to set it up. It's called throwing an empty kick, and that's why they're able to lean on it. Now, he doesn't want to run after Adesanya because that's when you got the power.
You hear the oohs and ahs every time Silva advances. Final 10 seconds of the round.
Good left hand by Adesanya. Those punches are landing when he switches stance. He's coming with the straight punches.
Ooh, a couple late left hands, and Silva just able to duck under that left kick. 5 minutes down. Tonight's Quarter Cam is brought to you by Hudson Shipping, shipping innovation.
Breathe, breathe. Sit down, Anderson. I'm good. You want water? Pay attention. You have to hit him. Hey, your punch landed. Throw your backhand. Keep faking the jab. He's marking your right. You're waiting too long. He respected you.
Right here, we can see a big right hand land after a fake of a knee, and then an elbow, and then another knee. Not super heavy shots, but just enough. And here we see a left hand land to a right straight, get Adesanya on his heels, and then that right hook just misses. Can't be chasing Adesanya. He needs to head him off.
UFC 234, Adesanya versus Silva is presented by TAB. Who are you backing?
Can
Adesanya crowd on hand here, Rod Laver Arena. Go ahead, Dom.
Sorry about that, Anik. Adesanya is playing that showmanship. You usually see Spider Anderson Silva doing that to people, and now we're seeing Adesanya give him a taste of his own medicine with the showmanship.
Heel landed partially there for Anderson Silva. Part of the message in his corner, they feel like that right hand will be there. Landed it a couple times in round one.
Oh, big counter right hook, and that's what you got to watch out for when you go first on Anderson. He's a good counter striker. But also, Anderson's corner saying he needs to go first. He's waiting a little too long, and I kind of agree with that. He needs to be first a little bit more on Adesanya in this round.
Adesanya back orthodox now. Silva tries a kick, partially blocked by Israel.
Israel faking a lot. That's what's really good about what he's doing right now. He's always showing something different. Fake, fake, fake. Anderson's kind of staring in the mirror, waiting. He needs to be first if I'm Anderson.
There it is.
Adesanya continues to attack that lead leg of Silva. Oh! Silva with the guard completely lowered.
Eats the 1-2. We saw that with Weidman, and it didn't go so well. Let's keep that guard up from Anderson Silva. Nobody wants to eat punches. That was a different defense. You see how he defended that leg kick? That's different. He just turned and gave the hamstring, but it kind of like makes the leg go up the leg instead of pumping into the muscle. That was interesting.
Adesanya bit on the fake there. Silva unable to capitalize. Big left hand lands for Adesanya.
And now the boxing's getting through of Adesanya because his hands are down.
Ooh,
good counter right by Silva.
That right hand has been Silva's best weapon tonight.
And right now, what would really help Adesanya is some combinations. From either of these guys' combinations, they're both throwing one flashy strike at a time. It's landing though, both these guys. There it is, there's a combination, and now it's landing. And this is what Anderson needs to do. Make it ugly, get in the underhooks, get in the pocket, create some elbows, create some knees. Fighting like that, being first, is how Anderson can be successful.
Adesanya forced to clinch for a second. Now a buckling leg kick from Israel. We have crossed the midpoint of this one. Scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Silva closing a plus 350 underdog. Again, Adesanya attacks the lower body as we show you these significant strikes landed. Adesanya doubling up on the former middleweight champ.
Nice, they're both landing 1-2s. Another jab right in the eye.
And that one bothered, yeah, the left eye of Adesanya.
That one got into his eye, kind of poked him a little. And Anderson being first, keeping the pressure, keep those hands up if you're careful, if you're Anderson. Right here is when you can be dangerous, and putting Israel up against the fence, keeping it here is exactly what Anderson needs to do. Keep it ugly, keep the pressure moving forward on Israel. Very nice.
Adesanya is still patient.
Excuse me. I like the guard of Anderson right now, but I don't like him eating his shots with his hands down. Can't get too cocky.
Yeah, not necessarily the fighter you want to showboat against. Nifty little heel spinning kick.
And he's been landing those all night. Those are nice. They hurt.
Well, those expecting this to be a whitewash, we are getting a fight. Left hand lands partially for Silva.
This is absolutely a fight, and I think Israel knows it too. Still, don't blink, because these guys are seconds away. They're just missing by inches, and they're both making reads on the finished shot.
Less than a minute now to go here in round 2. Adesanya resets.
Talk about a chess match, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're staring at each other. Feints would really help.
You see the total strikes advantage Adesanya in round 1 and 2, but far tighter here in this second round.
Adesanya still just edging out Anderson on the strike count, and that's what we were saying coming in. Anderson needs to bring his strike count up a little bit, because that's the one thing Israel does well, is he keeps a high strike count. And here we are seeing Anderson get after it. That's what he needs to do. Make it ugly, get grimy, be first, and that's what we're seeing here.
Silva now connects to the body. Final 10 seconds of the round. Spinning attack from Silva, nothing doing. We got a fight. 5 minutes to go.
Right here, we're going to see Adesanya land a 1-2 down the middle. Anderson just say, oh, you got me, but I'm going to make it seem like nothing. And then the 1-2 by Anderson here, then he follows it up. Squares up, right hand, a nice jab by Anderson from the southpaw stance. Right jab, down the middle.
Dance your dance, bro. Your rhythm, your rhythm.
The wall drill?
Yeah. Boom. Side to side, side to side.
De quadril sua, pisando no joelho da frente quando ele vem, você pisa. Isso é seu, tá em você.
It's yours.
Ó, fita o jab, joga o jab.
Fake the jab, and then jab. Fake the jab, use a lot of feints. You got to use feints.
Well, a lot of fans got to be sitting home wishing this was maybe a 5-rounder, but of course this originally was going to be the co-main event. So the contracts were signed for a 3-round fight.
This is our third and final round.
Realistically, this is exactly what fans wanted. Now let's see if they pick up the pace in this third. I have a feeling we're going to see Israel throw a lot more in this third round to try to get the finish and establish it.
And I am no judge, but could very well be 1-1 heading into this third and final round. I believe I'm hearing Silva chants here in Melbourne. A lot of people wonder what the crowd split would be like.
Ooh, that hurt, that hurt. That did hurt. Don't think it didn't, ladies and gentlemen. Anderson's good at pretending like nothing, but it hurts. Showmanship, that's what he does, people. Gets you thinking, gets you talking.
Adesanya forced to retreat. Silva attempts the flying knee and unable to land. Now Adesanya right back in his face, some swelling underneath that right eye of Silva.
Silva almost perceivably keeping his back up against the ropes if it was a boxing match. Just kind of chilling, waiting. See, looking for the counter.
Well, that right eye of Silva blew up quickly.
Yeah, he's been eating some left hands from the southpaw Adesanya, but right now Adesanya's cool with just faking. Saying, come on, I'm right here. Anderson's saying, come on, I'm right here, come get me. I ain't going anywhere.
And Adesanya obliges Silva, moves over to the fence.
And my guys, I say this is called staring in the mirror. What Adesanya needs to do here is fake, 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 fake. Keep the fakes going, and then Silva can't read when he goes. But if he just stares at him, it's speed for speed, read for read. Fakes break that apart.
Perhaps Silva looking to force a clinch situation here. Adesanya staying composed. Just over 3 minutes to go. Back to the center of the octagon we go. Adesanya continues to work that lower half of Anderson Silva.
He's setting up that right high kick that he's got from the southpaw stance. That's why he keeps kicking the leg of Anderson. He's gonna go high towards the end of the round. I have a feeling. Kick the low, and then go left high kick. There it is.
Silva's defense is there as Adesanya attempts the question mark kick. Leg strikes starting to pile up for the last style bender.
21 leg kicks for Adesanya, and that's the difference maker. The strikes, he's throwing a little bit more. He's more offensive than Anderson. Anderson's keeping him shy though by countering at the right times. He ate that one. Still like to see Anderson's guard up. I mean, how cool is this watching Anderson Silva go strike for strike with this man? 20 years age older.
Under 2 minutes now to decide this one.
And Adesanya just looking amazing. He is. He's doing everything right, and it's not easy fighting Anderson Silva. He's clipping him from the outside with that left, and that's why it's swollen up the eye of Silva.
Well, Silva has put in a lot of good work in advance of this fight here tonight. You see the round 3 total strikes. 4-1 edge for Adesanya.
What's interesting is, if you watch this, I mean, this shows you how much you gotta wrestle and mix in wrestling with Anderson Silva. Otherwise, he could strike at anybody, strike for strike. You mix in some takedowns, it breaks up the rhythm of the striking. That's what we haven't seen Adesanya do, which usually is what helps people out-edge Anderson Silva. That's what DC did. That's what certain people who beat him did. They take him down. Adesanya's going strike for strike, and now this has gone the distance, and it's been a very close fight as a result.
Last minute of our main event, Adesanya rips the body once more.
Nice.
Left hand.
Good right high kick, switch to southpaw and switch. But I like to see him keep his hands up and stop eating these punches. He needs to go first because he's eating more than Adesanya.
And now Silva returns fire with a kick.
That's how you know Anderson's having fun, though. When you're eating shots and you're okay with it, you're literally in the fight having fun.
And he just backed up Adesanya.
30 seconds.
With a stiff jab. 30 seconds now to go.
Some flashes coming soon.
Adesanya digs those toes into the body. They exchange spinning techniques, neither party able to land. Final 10 seconds of the fight.
What a fight. Breaking it down all the way to the end. Awesome match.
What a striking match turned in by Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva. And so much respect from one man to another. And Anderson Silva, at 43 years old, able to extend Israel Adesanya the full 15 minutes here tonight. Silva showing his appreciation to Adesanya for the fight. A lot of people believe at some point Israel Adesanya will have that middleweight belt firmly around his waist. Of course, Robert Whittaker, Kelvin Gastlum, and the rest are going to have a whole lot to say about that. But tonight belongs to those two men, Israel Adesanya and the soon-to-be UFC Hall of Famer Anderson Silva. This fight replay brought to you by Nemiroff, bold character since 1872.
And as we see here, I mean, Adesanya gets Anderson Silva chasing him, but Anderson's able to land too. I mean, he doesn't land quite as much as Israel, but he goes strike for strike, and he sees everything. Dodging the kicks, moving back, being able to play the showmanship with Adesanya. I mean, you really did see a mirror match in this fight, and it was very fun. Nice right hand gets Adesanya back. He says, no, that didn't hurt, but it did. And we see Anderson eat a three-piecer, says that doesn't hurt, but it did. We see a leg kick land, he acts like it hurt, and it doesn't. These guys just faking the whole time. And then we see a lot of hugs in the end, a share of respect, and that's what makes this sport so awesome. There's always respect at the end of these fights.
I mean, that's one of the many reasons why a lot of us believe this is the greatest sport in the world. Great showcase for the young talent, Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva, showing you there's still plenty of fight left in the dog. All right, one final time tonight. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya.
UFC 19. I still remember the DVDs, bro. I've been watching you for a long time. No, always, never. And it's everything. I know. This game, I've already seen it. This game is very crazy. Ever since I've been watching, so I know. Everyone's not your friend. I know.
We will speak to both men, but what a moment between two of the best mixed martial artists in the world. But the man of the hour, folks, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. I know this was a fight week not without its challenges, but in the end, the story is the same, 16-0. Congratulations on a huge win, my man.
Fuck, hold up. This is crazy. This is like for a kid just to play. You know, if I'm playing basketball to play against Michael Jordan, this is it for me. You know, you guys all play EA Sports. I do this shit for real, and I do it against the best. So, fuck what you mean, you know. But yeah, crazy week. You know, I showed up to work. A lot of people didn't, even though it's out of their hands. You know, sometimes it's not in their control. But hey, player one has the controller, so I showed up. And Anderson, thank you. Obrigado, my friend. You've been doing this for a long time, and I appreciate you. You know? And Rob, heal up quick. Kelvin, put that belt down. Seriously. And yeah, whatever happens next, shut your fucking mouth. What you gonna do when I run wild on you? Now, I love you guys. Fuck out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Israel Adesanya. And we step over here and grab a minute with one of the greatest of all time, mixed martial arts royalty, Anderson the Spider Silva. These fans love you so much. We were all witness to your greatness yet again tonight. Your thoughts on what just transpired?
Wow. I'm very happy, guys. First of all, I need to say thank you, God. Thank you for giving one more chance for coming here and do my best. And I love my job, you know. I know it's tough, this game is tough. The old fighters in that category is amazing guys, is stronger. But, you know, this is my heart. This is my life. I continue to fight because this is my heart. Thank you. Thank you for every single person come to here today. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you.
After this effort tonight in defeat, I think a lot of people are going to want to see you fight again. Any insight into your fighting future?
I don't know, but I try to fight in Curitiba, my city, then I go back training and back to see my family, and maybe I fight in Curitiba.
You are a legend of a man, a legend of a fighter. Thank you.
Guys, 1 second. I go joke a little bit. I don't know everybody want to stand, but I go try. Adrian, I love you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best to ever do it, Anderson the Spider Silva.
I mean, what can you say? They put on a show. They went the distance. Anderson Silva, one of the greatest ever, went the distance with the last style bender in a pure kickboxing K1 match with 4-ounce gloves. If that's not fun to watch, I don't know what is, but they put on a heck of a show. And both these guys came in shape, and they pretty much saved it because that was fun to watch. It was a technical battle, chest back and forth. What else can you say, John?
A lot of people thought this would be Anderson Silva's swan song. Doesn't appear to be that way, but as far as Israel Adesanya is concerned, 5 straight wins to begin his UFC run, second longest active win streak in this division, and you gotta think he is on the short list of contenders. I know Whittaker and Gastelum have unfinished business, but you gotta think prevailing wisdom by the end of 2019, Israel Adesanya will find himself in a championship scenario.
I mean, no doubt. He's right there, top 3. You got Whittaker, you got Gastelum, you got Adesanya, and if you put any of those guys in a title fight together, I'm not sad. I'm not disappointed about it. I love to see any of them match up. I will say Adesanya looks disappointed after this matchup. When I look at his face, when I look at his demeanor, his words after the fight, I think he's a little upset with himself, so that's something he's going to have to check in on. I don't see why he's upset with himself, but we'll see what he says.
Well, in my opinion, Israel Adesanya did nothing to diminish the shine on him. What a main event. What a day it was. What a week in Melbourne, Australia for UFC 234. UFC 234 has been brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly.
This is everything that I've worked for. I'm going to be a world champion or I'm going to die trying.
The most dominant champion that's ever played the game.
That's it, he's out.
He beats people before they even leave the locker room.
Right to the forehead.
I don't care who he is, I don't care what he's done, I don't care who he's beat.
Trying to finish this fight.
He's never gonna shake me. He's never gonna intimidate me, he's not gonna break me. But I'm gonna finish John Jones.
And this fight's everything people want to see.
Well, tonight continues a stretch of 9 consecutive weekends with live UFC action next Sunday. It is a Sunday show. We'll be in Phoenix. The inaugural UFC Fight Night on ESPN. Heavyweights Francis Ngannou and Cain Velasquez collide in the main event. Fast forward to February 23 from Prague. UFC Fight Night, Blachowicz versus Santos. That one on ESPN+. Then back to pay-per-view Saturday, March 2nd from Vegas. John Jones defends his belt against Anthony Smith in UFC 235. Also Woodley and Usman for the UFC undisputed welterweight title. And then March 9th, welcome to Wichita. We'll be in Kansas for UFC Fight Night on ESPN+, a heavyweight headliner between the Black Beast Derek Lewis and the former champion Junior Dos Santos.